Hello everyone, Sterilizer here, bringing you guys another Rivals Hot Lap guide today. I'm going to be showing you my build and tune, breaking points on track, telling you why I take certain curbs, how much of the curbs I take, why I don't take others, different strategies I use on track, things of that nature. Today we're going to be in S-Class on Indianapolis GP Classic, my favorite Indy variant, and we're going to be using the 2009 Corvette ZR1, one of my favorite cars in-game and in real life. I also noticed it was rather competitive on this track compared to where it normally places in S-Class. It doesn't really hold a candle to any of the cars above it on this leaderboard, but I was still able to put it 7th place in the world in the end, so I was really impressed with that. This car really likes to light up the rear tires, and the main focus of this track is corner exit and managing your throttle, so I really had to adjust my lines and my approach to a few corners to compensate for that, so I'll be explaining that in the video as well. So first things first, we're going to get right into the build and tune for this car. Going to go to the upgrade shop, no conversions on this car, and the first thing we're going to do is put the Forza adjustable arrow on the front and rear of this car. Next, we're going to go to tires and rims, go to tire compound, and put the race tire compound on. This car is fully gripped out, so we're going to have both the front tire width and rear tire width upgrades to go with that. Along with the tire width upgrades, we're going to be putting on the lightest wheels possible. I went with the Volk TE37s in the sport rim style, but any wheel of equal weight will also work, and we do not have any rim size upgrades. Next is drivetrain, and we have a sport driveline, a race differential, and we do not have any clutch or transmission upgrades. I will never put a clutch in pretty much any of my cars. Sometimes a transmission, but this car doesn't need it. It's geared pretty well. I'm gonna go to platform handling. I'm gonna do race springs and dampers, race front and rear anti-roll bars. We're gonna do the race cage, and we're gonna do race weight reduction. So full handling build on this car. We're gonna go to engine and do the race air filter or intake, stock fuel system, stock ignition, race exhaust, stock camshaft, race valves, and then the rest of the engine upgrades will be stock. It should come out to 684 horsepower in total, which is plenty of power to get this thing moving. And the next thing I'm going to show you is the tune. Key part to this car, I think. So, tire pressures will be 28 each. No gearing adjustments, we don't have an adjustable transmission. -1.5, -0.9 camber, no toe, front or rear, and a 6.3 caster. The anti-roll bars for this car are 20.5 and 20.0, pretty neutral roll bars for this car. Springs are 559.9, 509.9, or as close as you can get to those numbers. 3532 ride height, 9690 rebound, 3535 bump settings. And we have full downforce on this car. That's necessary. You're just going to want to put it there, trust me. 44% brake bias, 170% pressure, 65% accel, 12% decel. I was pretty happy with this tune, worked with it for about, I'd say like 30 minutes, which is honestly kind of a while for me. So yeah, I enjoyed sitting down with this car and I ended up with a pretty good tune. Alright, so now we're going to get into the lap itself. For the first run through, we're going to stop for braking points and whatnot. So our first braking point here, if you're not using a line, is there's a little camera thing overhanging over the fence there, and you brake right when you hit it. And we're going to downshift to third gear, and we're going to straddle this curb. And this is key so that we can get a good turn in for this left here. Dab the brakes to let the car bite, and we're going to be using pretty much all of this curb. You don't want to go over the curb onto the grass. The car will bounce on you, so you want to just get onto it. And I'm avoiding this curb right here because in this car, it lights up the tires when I hit that curb. In lower powered cars and lower class cars, I would use it. It gives you more momentum coming out of there. And right here, we're going to start shaving speed slowly. And we're going to be really ginger on the throttle through this section. It's really easy to light up the tires through here. And I think it's really important to get on this curb. It really helps with your run through there. And we're going to be braking right after the curb on the left ends there, and we're going to be really diving in hard here, double apexing this corner. Going down the second gear, being really careful on the throttle, and we're braking right after the curb ends on the left here again. And we're going to be pretty light on the brakes, and we're going to upshift into third and use about half of this curb. I found if I use the whole thing, the car kind of bounces around and it's hard to get on the throttle. And this turn is really easy to light the tires up on, so I decided to use third instead of second. Made it a lot easier and it was just as fast. Right here, you can track out all the way there. Just don't do 4 wheels off or you'll go dirty. And coming up here, our braking point is going to be right in between these two Forza flags, and I'm not using the curb while braking here. This curb really tends to throw me around, and I just find it's better to avoid it and be more stable on the way into the corner. And this curb, I use about half of it. Whenever I use all of this curb, it also tends to throw me around, so I've found half is pretty good. But for this curb, we want to use all of it because we want to be able to set up for this next left, which sets us up for the next right. That gets us onto the back straight. It all starts from the beginning in this section. It's all about setup. So here we are. We're angling our car to the left as much as possible, but without losing too much speed. If we try to go too far to the left and set up all the way by the grass, we're just losing too much speed. It's not benefiting us. So we're keeping a little bit of speed, dabbing the brakes, and we're cutting over this curb just... you can't go 4 wheels off, but nearly 4 off. And we're getting on the gas really early, using the curb on the exit, not all of it. And right here, I'm a little bit too far out. Ideally, you want 2 wheels to be on this curb on the inside, and then you can land right by those cones and get a better run onto this banked section. Also right here, I turned in a little bit too late. I had to lift. Ideally, you want to be on this white curbing, whatever you want to call it down there. If you hit that curbing, it is perfect. You get a monster run out of here, but I still got a decent one anyways. I was pretty happy with it. And now for this run, not going to have any pauses or stops. Just going to run you through it in real time. So we spot our braking point under this camera, downshifting to third, really diving into this corner, straddling this curb, dabbing the brakes, getting on top of this curb, avoiding this exit curb, getting right next to it. Then we're light on the brakes here, really light on the brakes, shaving speed slowly, being really careful on the throttle through here. Getting on this inside curb, and really diving into this next corner, making a double apex out of it. Second gear, careful on the gas. Don't want to light up the tires, that's how you lose time. Light on the brakes, upshift to third. Track out almost completely past this line. You just make sure to keep 2 tires on the track or else you'll go dirty. Now here, braking in between the flags, not using the curb since it bounces you around, getting halfway on this curb. And now the setup begins. We get all the way to the right here using all that curb. We angle our car to the left, dab the brakes, cut over the curb, get on the gas as early as possible, using part of this curb on the exit. If you use all of it, it kind of bounces you around like some of the previous curbs. Here, getting as far in as we can, could have got a little further in, but we did an okay job. We were still able to maintain flat out. Here, having a little lift because we turned in a little late, but still hitting the inside pretty nicely, and we're on our way out. So that's a 121.989, and thanks for watching, guys. I really haven't done a video like this before. I've been exploring editing lately and trying to figure out how to pause the video and do the voiceover at the same time, but you know, hopefully this one turned out okay. It's just kind of my trial run. I hope it helped. That's the first time I've really showed a build or tune on camera either, so maybe you have a little insight as to how I build and tune my cars now. Once again, thanks for watching. See you next time.